you will do well. The favor of God, the God who opens the way, who breaks the way, will go before you, will encircle you, will change your story, will elevate your brand, will prosper your vision.
Welcome to Kingdom Leaders Global Alliance. Join us as we build saints to become voices, visionaries, and vessels of God's kingdom. God bless you.
Hello, everyone. Precious evening today. I hope that you are well on your side. Thanking God for each of you. And thank you so much for being here, joining in on the conversations, and sort of just hopefully you are rounding up nicely and preparing for what is ahead for you. So tell me, what has tonight been for you, if you are on the WET side, or today, depending on where you're streaming from. But what have been any striking parts of the conversation today that you are thankful for, excited about? And also, what made you register? What anticipations do you carry about what this meeting or this session could do for you, for your leadership, and the way that you are setting yourself up for 2024? So Peace says, I'm grateful for the point on changing my thoughts. What else are you grateful for? What has been striking this night that you're thankful about today? Peace says that they're thankful for the opportunity to change their thoughts and to elevate their paradigm. That is a beautiful thing. Okay, what else are you thankful for? What do you find striking? Peace says, if I can win on paper, I can win in life. That is so good. That is so good. If I can win on paper, I can win in life. I love it. I love you very much. Okay. Only Peace has shared so far, and I'm hopeful that we have one or two persons who would also be happy to share tonight. Okay. Peace also says, I must continuously place myself in circles of influence to stay motivated. In circles of influence to stay motivated. Busiah says, I'm grateful for impactful relationships. Also learned that leadership, if foremost, is first and foremost about service. Akinola says, I've been so charged up to understand that I should not be an overmotivated person who is then an underachieving individual. No way. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to take a few more for another 2 minutes. Iyanulua says, service is currency. Service is currency. Esther says, I'm thankful for valuable relationships. That is so good. Thankful for valuable relationships. Okay, solid. It means that some very powerful things have already happened here today. Okay, let's run an asset and liability exercise. If you think about what you perceive about yourself in terms of your authentic identity, according to God's original design, if you think about the vision that you have caught for your life, the purpose you believe you're here to fulfill, and the next most significant goals that are strong in your heart about where you want to go in the coming days, when you think about all these things and the person you want to become, the kind of leader that you want to become, the kind of impact you want to create, would you list for me 3 things you have going on in your life right now, whether in your paradigms, your habits, your actions, your relationships, or your opportunities, right? Your paradigms or your mindsets that are deeply ingrained, your habits, daily habits, the actions and steps you're taking, the relationships you have or are building, or the opportunities that are present and available to you right now. Talk to me about at least three assets that you believe you have that are so in tune and aligned to where you want to go. You look at your life, you look at your vision, and you feel like, I have these things going for me. There's a way that I think, there are people that I have, there are steps I'm taking, there are habits I'm building, there are opportunities I have right now that are supremely aligned to my vision and my purpose. Okay, run that for me. And I'm giving you 5 pillars through which 5 lenses you could use to answer that question: your paradigms, your daily habits, your actions, your relationships, and your opportunities. So let's run that asset exercise. Tell me 3 things, and you could give me more, that you feel are supremely of advantage to you, and very aligned to helping you fulfill your vision or your purpose or your life's assignment in this particular season. I am keen to read from you. Okay? So let's see who would share with me. P says, I'm grateful for the following assets: my relationships. Oh, but no, thank you for the effort, but that's not the ideal way that I want you to exploit. For whatever pillar or lens you choose, you have to actually break it down for me a bit more. So if you choose the lens of relationship, you have to talk to me about those relationships. I'm thankful for, this mentor, or I'm thankful for this prayer partner. I'm thankful for this business associate or my colleague at work. And you sort of explain why, the kind of counsel they give me, you give it some clarity. And if you say, I'm grateful for an opportunity, break it down just a little bit more. Maybe to say, look, an opportunity for academic advancement, an opportunity for making money, an opportunity for higher platforms for my public speaking. Break it down a bit more. Thank you, Peace. She says, for relationships, I'm thankful for Mrs. Adeyi and FIO, who have shared their knowledge with me to help me understand career excellence as a lady in finance. Solid. So you're seeing this as an asset in your life because it's very tied to where you want to go in terms of your vision and in terms of your goals. Fantastic. So Peace has offered me 1. I still hope that I'm going to get some more responses on this one. We're running the asset exercise, and I've shared with you 5 lenses through which I want you to run me through at least 3 assets in your life today. Peace says, in terms of opportunities, I'm glad I took the step to pursue my master's in finance. Solid. I love it. Look at that. I love it. You caught the way that I wanted you to explore it. Fantastic. Taking on a master's degree in finance, it's an opportunity opener. It's a door opener. And that's great. She says, it's helped me meet other finance professionals all around the world and attend networking events in London. Fantastic and well done. Okay, so I'm looking to read from a few other people. Thank you, Akinola. I'm thankful for the speaking ability that helps me communicate effectively my thoughts. Fantastic. So you're speaking to gifts, opportunities. I have a spontaneous flair for service to people, which is what I've learned to understand what leadership is about. I love it. I'm glad I had the opportunity to get an appointment with the Oni of Ife in 2019 that helped me meet important people across my career path. Fantastic. We're talking assets, because every leader has to frame a leadership compass that is drawn from an understanding of where you are, who you are, what you have, and what can create the bridge to where you want to go, right? Leadership is a very powerful construct in shaping the world, shaping realities in society. But the most powerful leadership is actually self-leadership, because everything else proceeds from self-leadership. And within self-leadership, you have a great need for self-knowledge. And that's why we practice introspection. You have to understand what is in your toolkit. You have to understand what you have access to. You have to understand how you can leverage what you have access to. Everyone is really unique. And I know that we hear that a lot. And it's possible that even though you hear it a lot, it maybe doesn't even resonate or spark a powerful fire in your heart, but it's meant to do so. every single one of us have a fingerprint, and you have your DNA, you have your unique wiring. And your unique wiring is not meant to just be a social differentiator. It's actually meant to be a spiritual toolkit for being able to navigate the earth realm and reflect God in your own unique way with your own unique expression. So whenever we talk about leadership, people would often sort of seek to draw reference to, the opportunity to be in the front lines and to have others following you. But the most significant, most defining kind of leadership that produces the greatest impact on every other expression of leadership is actually self-leadership, or what we love to call self-governance. And that is where the journey begins. Within self-governance, you now get into conversations around identity, around original design, around values and values alignment, around purpose and vision and your desires in terms of what beats in your heart for how you want to make a difference in the world. Everything, every person, every experience, every situation that seeks to attack your authenticity and sort of wars against your ability to live from inside out is going to weaken your self-leadership, right? And many times we're constantly under such pressure, like everyday life is so fast-paced that people sort of forget how to really live, how to step back, reflect, count your wins, observe your patterns, make course corrections, and carefully author and order your life in the right direction. So that's a kind of insight that I hope will stay with you today from my own session. I'm hopeful that as you begin to think about your leadership compass, your leadership impact, and your leadership intention, even for 2024, you really begin from the place of self-governance. You really start to look inward again, and you begin to ask yourself very defining questions. At the end of this summit, I would be happy to share with Akinola a particular workbook that I think you should go through, start 2024 with, and it's called the Clarify You Workbook. And that workbook seeks to introduce you to you across 12 significant empires of your self-discovery. And it's very important every once in a while, maybe every quarter, every half year, that you take yourself away and really reflect on the journey that you're taking. Even scripturally, it's extremely important for us to be people who are giving to self-appraisal, self-evaluation. And, that's what keeps you authentic. That's what helps you draw into your superpowers. And that is what helps you lean into even your anointings, the things that God has uniquely hardwired into your making for you to be able to, move forward in life and triumph in the face of adversity. Okay, so Tokyo says, here are 3 things. I've been able to offer my personal responsibility to a vision concerning a business by researching on the business niche. I also went back to listen to the breakout session from Dr. Emmanuel Taffa during VLC 2023 concerning entrepreneurial leadership. And I've been able to answer some of the reflection questions which offered more clarity. I'm grateful for access to relationships. They've been able to guide me accordingly to set up a good business plan. Third is in my paradigm shift, as I've been able to see that I'm a creator, as the one who created me is. It has strengthened me to build structures and lead beautifully. This is so good. Thank you for sharing, Omotoke. Well done. Okay, so let's get on to a liabilities exercise. And I just want you to explore for me, after breaking this down, I would love to read what Oluwafunmi Samuel has written for us. But again, look at the lenses of your paradigm, your habits, your actions, your relationships, your opportunities, and explore what you consider a liability, an area of growth that if you actually don't take action on, could stand in the way of future success. And you're saying, DDK, I'm so used to thinking this way. I'm so used to acting this way. I'm so used to keeping this kind of people in my circle, but I reckon that these things could be crutches. These things could be liabilities to my leadership, to my vision, and to my life. And I want to do different. I want to do better. And let's see what comes through from that. But over here from Oluwa Fumilaya, she says, relationships and paradigms. I'm thankful for KGA and Immerse, which are vibrant communities of like-minded people who are firelighters and pictures of the vision in my heart. By being plugged in, I'm continually spurred to shift into the belief systems so that I can become the person who fulfills the vision I see. This is so good. Opportunities. I'm grateful for the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, which helped me pursue my master's degree in rural development in Europe. This experience stretched me and unfolded passions for my continent that I didn't even know I had. It stretched me and equipped me with relevant skills for my career trajectory. This is good. Babatunde says, I'm thankful for the opportunity to have served in the organization I served in last year. Although I almost changed the PPA when I thought about the little experience in the field, thank God I took it as a challenge and kept pushing. I'm grateful for the leaders I came across during the course of my service. They helped me to understand the practical program management by delegating tasks to me. Yes, both of these direct leaders are not in the organization, but their impact has made me a very important person in the organization now. This is so good. I love it. I love it. And thank you so much for sharing with us. So let's go for the liabilities exercise. And for the KGA leaders who are in the house, i.e. all partners who are on this call, be sure that I have my eyes on you. I expect that you are actually going to respond to the questions the quickest. Okay? So please go for it. Thank you, Babatunde, for sharing. Look at that. He could have backed off, but self-leadership is to push ourselves beyond our comfort zone and to try out increasingly challenging but positively impactful experiences that can unlock a dimension of who you are that you would never know. You see, I can open up slides and start to teach you about leadership, but you see, the call to wake up is a call to self-governance, is a call to knowing you more. It's a call to defending you more. It's a call to challenging you more. It's a call to saying no to your normalized nonsense and being able to look at your life and say, these are problematic paradigms, problematic patterns that will undermine my progress and frustrate my purpose. If you do not know the things in your life that you are used to, and you may not know all of them because sometimes our blind sides are so strong, they are like strongholds. And that's why we need radical candor. Radical candor is the fine balance between love and truth, is to find people who can say to you, you've got an issue here and you have to do better. So that's what this summit is about. The wake-up call is a very private and personal call. And that invites you to a part of your leadership that involves who you are authentically. And like I was saying, it's important for any leader to be able to say, these are some of the problematic paradigms and the problematic patterns that are fueling dysfunction in my life or undermining my ability to serve my purpose or limiting my chances at really winning with something that deeply matters to me. Do you see this? It's big deal. And because I'm speaking to young persons like myself, there is a sense that we typically have as young people where we feel invincible. And that's a beautiful thing, where you feel indefatigable, you feel unstoppable, you feel like I can do big things. And it's a beautiful thing. But you have to balance that energy of youth with the wisdom of the sage, where you have to be able to honestly say to yourself, my habits are going to mar me if I don't do something. I can't be waking up at this time, sleeping when I like, binging on Netflix, eating anyhow, just having no regulation. Nobody really goes far without having regulation. And when we talk about going far, I want you to be very careful not to build your sense of success around how you're perceived by others. I know we're in the Instagram sensation age where everybody is hashtag goals. And, there are always some people in some corner who think that you're the biggest deal. You have to set your sight higher than what people around you say about you. You have to have a vision for your life that is highly aspirational. And just even sitting with scriptures can be a fantastic foundation. You sit with the Bible and you sit with Hello Tomorrow by Dr. Cindy Trim. In 3 months, I believe that you set your sight higher. I believe that new thoughts will enter your mind that will challenge you to be the financial savior, to be the systemic savior, the nation building savior that your family, your community, your nation needs. So if you are hard pressed in your heart to wake up, to do something significant, to change the game, not only for your life and your family, but for the world around you, it starts to dawn on you that there will be new rules that you have to submit to. Rules of diligence, rules of discipline, rules of prudence and simplicity, rules of revelation and reflection, principles of benevolence, generosity, humility, kindness, careful exploration, and taking a journey into who you are. I often say it as you need to get a PhD in yourself. That's a whole journey of self-governance, to be as a government under God, right? Let's see, no one has come through with the liabilities exercise. That would have been a fantastic thing, and I would still love to read from you. So the question again, Anu has shared hers. An area of growth would be people management. I'm thankful for the gift of people, but I believe that understanding the people around me and people management will accelerate that which I can do while not being stressed. Esther says, I need to improve my consistency in showing up. I also need to enhance communication in relationships that matter to me. So for Anu and for Esther, I want you to also then write for me any resources that you already know can help, or any persons you are considering reaching out to just get their thoughts because you believe they are succeeding in that area where you want to grow. And if you don't have any answers for that, put it there as well, saying, hey, Didike, I'm not sure what can help me. I'm not sure what I should be doing. If I have some resources, I'll recommend them. But what that encourages you to do is to get on the path of research, to start to say, if this is a growth area for me, what kind of resources and people can help me close that gap? Peace says, it will be paradigm. I really need to change my mindset. It appears as though when the opportunities show up, I need to have a conversation with myself mentally that I'm actually deserving so I can maximize that opportunity. That is so good. Biola says, I need to learn to manage my emotions better and not let it control me so I can show up well and be a positive example to others. I love this one so much. I need to make God proud. You will make God proud. This is very, very good. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for that degree of self-awareness that each of you are bringing into the conversation. So well done to Anu, Esther, Peace, and Biola. This is a great exercise, right? And while I will still read from even more people, for Anu, who talks about people management, there's a book called Relational IQ by Darius Daniel. And I want you to check that resource out. It's profound on many levels and will 100% support your quest to sort of growing that ability to understand people and be able to manage them. Esther talks about improving her consistency in showing up and enhancing our communication in relationships that matter. Esther, Relational IQ by Darius Daniel would also be very helpful. Consistency in showing up. I recommend Atomic Habits by James Clear. And I also recommend Showing Up by Tolu Michaels. Those are books that I believe would really offer you great support. I need to change my mindset, says Peace. It appears as though when opportunities show up, I need to have a conversation with myself mentally that I'm actually deserving. I want to recommend Believe Bigger by Marshawn Evans to you. That is a solid book to really elevate the way that you see yourself and the way you present yourself in the presence of opportunities. Biola says to manage her emotions and not let them control her. It depends on what the root issues are. But 3 books I could recommend will be Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman, Reclaiming Your Soul by Dr. Cindy Trimm, and The Search for Significance by Robert McGee. Those would be 3 books that I can recommend to you. So those are some books that I believe could help if you check them out. Anu already says that she is reading the summary of Developing the Leader Within You. That is a profound book by John C. Maxwell. Esther, I hope that the resources I shared will also be helpful to you. While you're writing to me, I was logged out, but you were still able to hear what I have just said. Okay, fantastic. So look at that. We are exploring our assets and our liabilities because to wake up is really a personal clarion call. Omotoke says, I need to work on my execution. There's been improvement, but it's not significant enough. There is getting things done. And I could check that out for you. There's a whole framework on getting things done by David Allen that I think you should check out. And let me look up a second one that I've used in organizations previously that could really help. Fantastic. It's Execution, the Discipline of Getting Things Done by Lawrence Bossidy and Ram Sharan. Check out Execution, the Discipline of Getting Things Done. The one that is a big recommendation for me would be Getting Things Done by David Allen, because he's gone on to build an entire framework called the GTD framework. And you could check that out. If you belong to my Future Forward Female Mastermind or the Immerse Inner Circle, we also have resources that could help you on the path of sort of growing your capacity for execution. Okay, in the next 5-6 minutes that I have left with you, I want to highlight a particular thing that I think you should also really pay attention to. If there's any part of your life that is, giving you grief, I want you to actively, look into that area. Maybe after this summit as well, an additional resource would share with you is something called the 12-part Life Compass Assessment that will show you the 12 different areas of your life and will help you see an aerial, graphic imagery for how you are scoring across those 12 areas based on what you determine as the appropriate weight you want to allocate to each of the areas, depending on the degree of success or satisfaction you feel in that area, right? And what I always teach with that assessment, it's such a powerful tool. In fact, it's before even being a tool, it's a learning resource because it shows you the 12 areas of your life that you have to pay attention to. But what I always say with that tool is that whenever you find an area where you're scoring 3, 3.5, 4, or lesser, that is an area where you have to actually sit into. It's called a bleeding area. What people often do, the wisdom of the world, is to keep succeeding at what you're succeeding at, hoping that it will compensate for what you're not succeeding at. But that's not the way of God. God wants you to have good success. God wants you to prosper, even as your soul prospers. And he wants you to observe the path through which you are taking in life. So when you have an area that is bleeding, what you have to recognize is that it's going to bleed to other areas. That's the truth. I have sat with several hundreds of leaders, whether in coaching, counseling, or consulting, who are just confused about why their life or their lives are not working, even though they have so much success and their careers are really growing and all of that. And the deal is whatever is bleeding will ultimately bleed onto other areas. So you're not meant to try to medicate the areas of your life that are working. You're not meant to use them as a medication for what is not working. You're meant to roll up your sleeves and actually get into growth with the areas that are not working. So something to do this is to run that assessment, see where you're scoring 4 or lesser, and look into it. Guess what? Even before you take the assessment, if you're quiet in your heart, you will know parts of your life that you're feeling dissatisfied with, agitated about, or just a bit restless. And as you start to step into that space of sabbathing and retreating and reflections under the light of God's word and the presence of the Holy Spirit, you're going to start to get the pinpoint, work on this, and he'll begin to instruct you. And when the Lord instructs you or highlights an area of your life where he wants you to grow or be pruned or do better, prioritize those areas. That is what leadership is about. It's about the courage to fix what's not working as against the pretension to cover for what's not working with the successes that you have. I believe in you. I'm very proud of you for being a part of the summit. And I know that 2024 is going to be a radically impactful year, especially as you make important decisions to invest in who you are and who you are becoming. Okay, we have some additional comments that have come through. Thank you for sharing, Omoto Care. Boluwatife says, I need to learn urgency in taking actions and how to control my emotions when disappointments come from people. So I don't think that urgency is what you need per se. If you're not taking action quickly, there's something that is triggering it. That's what we have to fix. So I would say check out Reclaiming Your Soul, because when we're dragging our feet, it could be because we're afraid. It could be because we've faced previous disappointments. It could be because we have self-doubt and we don't really reckon our own ability to succeed. It could be because we always need other people's approval or validation. So it could be approval addiction, you see, and that's what you need to fix. You don't need to try to become urgent or to practice urgency. You just need to fix what holds you back from taking action, right? So explore that and you see where it leads you. Emotional intelligence, fantastic. So that book by Daniel Goleman will be helpful. The ability to be sensitive to the needs of others around and being able to differentiate what's urgent from what's important. For differentiating what's urgent from what's important, there's a powerful, profound, radically life-transforming book that I know for productivity and being able to just prioritize across the 4 quadrants. And it is called Free to Focus by Michael Hyatt. Free to Focus by Michael Hyatt. Emotional intelligence seems to be coming up a lot. So very proud of each of you for wanting to improve that area of your life. Okay. Thank you so much for having me. I will put it back in the hands of Akinola and we see where we go from there. Peace, well done. And I can see your beautiful face on the call.
Thank you so very much, PDDK. It's such an honor to have you here today. Thank you for emphasizing that leadership starts from self-correction. Self-governance affects every facet of our life, but how do we really get started? Highlighting the area to focus on. How can we move from thinking, planning to doing? DDK, Ma, please, could you help us with this question, Ma?
Okay, that's quite that's a powerful question. Of course, self-governance is a journey, so it's obviously not something that you necessarily have all the answers and the results for in one moment. But self-governance is really around governing yourself in that easy sense. You see, it's really around being able to leverage yourself as an asset, right? And there are at least 5 things that could be pillars that you must explore in self-governance. It begins with self-discovery or rediscovery, onto self-healing, where there has been distortions and deviations from your original design. So self-discovery, you are unpacking your original design, your personality, your wiring, your core values, why you act the way you act, what God has said about you from the foundations of the earth. It is you're unpacking that. And that's a whole journey. And then you get into self-healing, where you are realigning yourself to original design, because our socialization, our background, our experiences might have brought distortions to identity and the way we perceive ourselves, or the way we act and emote and think, etc. Onto purpose discovery and envisioning, where you actually now start to layer on the knowledge you have of who you are, you see, to begin to say, based on who I am, what am I here for? What is my life's work? What assignments does God have for me? And that's where you also start to unpack your passions, your interests, and the segment of society that, you feel most connected to, and the type of sectors or industries or mountains of influence that resonate with you. That's where you're sort of unpacking that. And again, that could be a journey of many years before you even start to properly language who you are, what you want to do in the world, all of that. But it's a key pillar on the journey to self-governance, right? And then you come into self-regulation, right? Or life mastery, self-regulation, life mastery, personal mastery, where you really start to think about your habits, your actions, your thinking, your relationships, the systems that you set up in your life to make sure you can fulfill purpose. There are some people who have their lives so chaotic, and it's called either living by design or living by default. There are people who are living by default and their lives are so chaotic. They open their doors to dangerous friendships. They make sentimental decisions. They go where they're not meant to go, speak anyhow, have no investments in their mind. They're impulsive buyers, spend anyhow. They don't have control over their time. They are overscheduled, over-volunteered. Those things are very dangerous things, and they are often drawn from the spaces where we've not yet healed in our emotions. And that's why you practice self-healing. If you don't pursue self-healing, which, by the way, is not an event, but is actually a lifestyle. People associate healing with the response to damage, but healing is also the protection from damage. It's how you live your life in a way that you don't get unfit for purpose. So, when you come into self-regulation, you are now gaining mastery over your life. You are organizing your life according to your preference, according to your prototype, and you're managing your time. You're designing your ideal life, and you're prioritizing what matters to you. You're setting the right goals, and you're going for the things that you're becoming who you want to become, right? And then you move from there to self-expression, right? And this is not a linear path. It's not this progression is not as clean as it looks. There are people who are in self-expression, but who are very poor on self-healing, right? And that's why you could meet some people that you admire from afar, but when you come into close interactions with them, they are so bitter. And because there's a lot of hurt in there. But self-expression is really about making a difference, making an impact, executing your vision, doing something meaningful, leveraging your talents, your giftings. Yeah, those are key pillars, and one could unpack each of those pillars a lot more. So what gets us from planning and thinking into doing? Well, just do it. And I know that sounds extremely simplistic, but something I find is that we're quite an overthinking generation. Go ahead and do it. If you see that you're not in self, if you say that you're hurt, you're very, enraged, easily angered, resentful, you're hurt, something is affecting you, then sit and question what was affecting you and start to Google journey to self-healing. Well, that's what my journeys look like. I will pray about things I want clarity about. I will buzz my mentors and ask questions. I'll get into Latana in Okeawo in VI, and I will buy all the books I see on something that I feel like this is what I want to fix in my life. You see, I don't sit at too many conferences. I feel like we're just really fattened up with so much knowledge. We're constipated. Go ahead and just live this life and do this thing. I don't know. There are people who attend my events for many years. After a while, I start to look at them and I'm like, you're not a good ambassador of my message. Don't spoil my market. Is that you get out there and you go do something what I'm teaching you. You will cry and shake and fall down, break our white chairs, and then you still go back and retain your patterns. And I promise I'm going to be gentle on this call. So let me stay gentle. But go ahead and just do it. Go live life. Go do the things you believe will make a difference for you. Right? But to help, what are the things that have moved me to actioning progress in my life? Number one, I have read books and listened to messages and followed the same teachers for 2 decades. 2 decades at the minimum, the same teachers. Yeah. Of course, in increments, teachers have been added as the journey has progressed, but I'm not keen for the latest voice, the latest apostle. I give great caution to who I give access to. I'm really careful about that. So I'm not a YouTube consumer just looking for the next fancy thing. No. I'm old-fashioned, old school in my consumption, but I'm a voracious consumer of resources, sermons, teachings. So that's really helped. Books, that's really helped. I sit, I read, I mark books. There's a book I've marked so much, I can't see what is on the second part because I've highlighted so much. And why did I continue to read it? It was because it was a bleeding area in my life last year. So I kept going back and practicing and it's shifted so radically. So sermons, books, articles, I research a lot. Number two, I sit with people. My best conversations are in one-on-one encounters. And by the way, you don't have to be my friend for me to draw juice from you. If God has given you victory in an area, I will sit with you. I'll take you to lunch. I'll gist with you and I'll listen. So one of the things people say a lot about me when they meet me, that's always a shock to them, is that I am actually a better listener than I'm a better speaker in one-on-one conversations. I speak for a living on platforms, but I don't speak a lot in private conversations because I have a lot to learn. So I don't get into the room and lead the conversation. No. What's my business? Hey, what So basically, I listen a lot. I ask questions. I observe. I speak to mentors. Number three, I pay for coaching. Christians don't like paying for coaching. The thing is always pinching their body. They don't want to spend their money. I pay for coaching. I pay thousands of dollars to be coached. For someone to say, you are good, but you're not that good. I need someone to be able to, I do that. Number three, I stay in communities where there are people whose today looks like the future I desire. I pay to be in communities where I meet people who are living in a reality I am aspiring toward. Then number five, I pray for the help of God. My prayers are very strategic. I don't just pray to be a better believer. I don't just pray to be filled with the Spirit. In fact, I believe being filled with the Spirit is for a purpose. It's not just for you to pray in tongues and shake. It's so that you can observe your blind spots. It's so that you can make a habit of what is hard but important in your life. It's so that you can make better, decisions, etc. and etc. So yeah, those would be 5 things that have fast-tracked my journey to progress, and I hope they do the same for you.
Thank you for listening. We are sure you have been tremendously blessed. To connect with Kingdom Leaders Global Alliance, please visit our website www.kingdomleadersglobal.org. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Kingdom Leaders Global Alliance, for our video resources, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Kingdom Leaders Global. God bless you.